Guys, welcome to CSS 103. So in today's class, we're going to be reviewing the 103 video, and that is advanced selector. So before then, I want to clarify one of the questions you asked, which is in terms of how to recall or how to be persistent in what it is that you do. Or how to make sure that you are actually doing the right thing, because when you are programming, okay, let me get the question out right. So the question is that you always look at your notes when you are trying to do something new, or you are trying to, do something. You have to review your notes on how those things are done. So that's pretty normal. When you are being taught something new for the first time, you have to go through your note. The reason why you're going through your notes is because that thing is not sticking yet in your memory. Like, it has not become part of you. And the only way something can become part of you is when there is consistency. So these things, as it is, I didn't cram them, right? It's over time. And not that I remember all of them. I don't remember everything, so to say. Sometimes I have to look up some things. So the way it works is that before now, what programmers do is that we have this book, like back in the day when we started learning programming. There's this, every programmer have this book, reference material, whereby you will go and look for how things is done, because you can't cram the whole thing. So we'll always reference to it. It's like, okay, this is the requirement, this is the documentation of how this thing is done. Over time, Google came up. It really made everything so easy. So let me give you a simple scenario. So you want to center a particular element, right? There are various methods. So it's possible that I teach you that method today, but because you are not centering an element every now and then, you will forget that method. So, but when you need to use it, you can actually Google it, right, to figure it out, or you look through your notes to figure it out. So obviously Google is going to be faster. And now when you figure it out, they should be like, oh, that is how to do it. Not like, I don't even understand this thing. So there's two different things. The first one is, what is this safe? I don't even understand. Is this true? How will this be this? Compared to, okay, now so the thing even be said, I missed this thing. Do you get? So there's nothing, it's different from you'd have no clue of what it is. You're just copying the code and pasting it. You have no clue how the thing came to be, versus because you just forgot. We're human beings, you can forget. But when you see it, it's like, oh, okay. That is it. Why did I forget now? So, and that will happen when there's consistent practice. So if you constantly practice, it will be part of you. So any small one that you miss is not really a big deal. When you see it again, okay, that's the code. So over time, consistency will make it that it will be part of you. So I hope that answers that question. This is a code review I'm doing for one of, I don't think it's an assignment, but more of like for me to review what has been done. So I'm going to review it. I've seen a lot of things, but the idea is that we are doing a review. So I'll put it at the bottom so I can go through what we have here. Okay. So let's go ahead and say you didn't bring in all the images in your code, but that's fine. I won't be able to bring in the images into the system to save time. But this is what I would say from what I've seen from the code. Let's start from the top. And one of the things that happens when you do assignments or when you try things yourself is that you get to understand, or you get to realize that, I didn't get this thing. You get to realize that I don't be so easy to do. So there's a couple of things I've seen from here. Number one, your head didn't have title. There's no title. There's title inside, but there's a text that is just hanging around. This is not supposed to be hanging around. So again, there's no prettier is not, okay, I've enabled prettier, so everything is formatting correctly right now. So first of all, I've seen the first error, which is this ATM hanging here. It's not supposed to be hanging like so, right? So inside head, you can have meta, which is okay, followed by title. Then your style can follow. I also mentioned that we'll stop using style. We're not going to be using this method, which is still okay, but it's fine. Okay, let me not put that out there. It's fine. You can do it like this. It's still fine. That way, we don't need to, manage so many files, so that we can focus on one particular file. So this is now what is this? This is a selector by name, and there's no element called font. So this one, you don't get error on your own. So I don't know what you're trying to achieve here, but once we go down the code, we'll look at it. So I guess you are trying to attach a font to a particular class. So let's look at what is next. So this is also a class called card, as you can see here. So if you take your mouse over here, you can see a difference here. This one says is an element, and which I mentioned, there's nothing called element as a font. So moving on to the next thing we have here, imagine, okay, this is okay. This one, we didn't have the background, but that's fine. Properly implemented background size. And the issue with the background size that you specify here is that it's limited, but that's okay. Moving on to the table, starting the table, the width, specifying the width. There's no measurement of the width that you styled. So always put measurements. You put a unit of measurement here, which is okay. You didn't put unit of measurement here. That needs to be done. Okay, this is a class now. Font size 25. The same thing here, no measurement. You need to put a form of measurement that you're using. The same thing here, no measurement. Font family, okay. Yeah, good. Verification, the same thing, no measurement, no measurement, no measurement. So this is an ID. Imagine left. This is ID. Okay, no measurement here. You need to add measurement. Now that head section is done. Moving on to the body of the code. This one is wrong. You can see what happened here. So what happened here is as a result of the fact that you are not conscious of when you are creating an element. So if you are creating your body and you jump away from it, or you are creating any element for that matter, and immediately you jump away, it will close it immediately. So let's say you create I and you close it. You can see that it closes it immediately. And peradventure you jump away and continue here. That's what happens. So everything was supposed to be inside the body. Everything here was supposed to be inside the body. So I can just cut all this guy. See what I did? I just minimized this whole thing so I can have a better way to cut it and put it inside here. So you can see what I did. I just minimize. I'll do that again. And it was like this before. So I want to make sure that I'm copying everything. That's why I had to put extra space, so that there's no anything. I'm not copying things I'm not supposed to be copying. So I'm going to cut this one away and put it inside here. So that way it's now done properly. So moving on, and let's see what happens. Okay, I have, since the view is not really useful, I'm just studying your code. So we have a table border 0. This whole thing is a card. Okay, this whole thing is a card. Table border 0. We have table row, table data image. So it means we have 2 rows, 2 columns rather. So this means 2 columns. This is the first row. So the next row, this is the next row. So now I've even seen an error. There's an error here, because if you have a row that have 2 columns, the next one will also need to have 2 columns. So you can see the mistake here. This is not panning forth to give us consistency. This table has a table data, meaning 2 columns. This is 2 columns already. So the next row is having 1 column. So there's a problem. So it's either you are merging the data inside here to be that. So this is just to show you, because it's not visible, so you can't see the error. So I want you to see the error yourself. So let me make it, very big. So you can see the error going on here. Your table is supposed to be properly crossed. And that's because this is having 2. You can see my credit is showing 1. And this other one for the image is also showing here. Then this other part here is working for this image, but where is the other part? It's not available. That part cannot just disappear. So this is not a great solution for displaying the card. Go ahead. Your volume is low. Go ahead.
Okay, my question is that I later added that very singular TD
Okay.
because I wanted the what do you call it, the Visa card
Okay.
or the Mastercard to
Hmm.
be down here.
Okay. 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 No problem. Let me just review your code so that you understand what's going on. It's just a review we are doing. We're not. They're just review and correcting. So you
Okay.
just take correction from there. So that's just
Okay.
all. Okay. So okay, I have this. The same thing applicable to this. You can't have a single table without a col span or row span. So I'm gonna repeat the same thing here so that it can break. So what you might want to do is, if this one is fully taking the whole space, you need to do what I call row span. And there's column span and row span. So the correct one is column span. So it is called col span, and you are spanning to 2. So notice what happened here. So this one now properly takes in 2 rows. That's the solution. If you must maintain 1 TD, you need to use what? You need to use what? Row col span. So the same thing can be applicable to here, and you say col span. I think I mentioned it in when you are learning HTML section. So that's just everything I needed to mention here. And we can go ahead and start today's class. So if there's no other question, we'll start today's class. Today's class is about CSS Advanced Selector. So let me look at the topic and then we'll pick it up from there. That we're reviewing in today's class is Advanced Selector. You know, we did Simple Selector, and Simple Selector is the simple ones on how to target a particular element on your web page. So I'm just gonna run through Advanced Selector because the whole thing is in the video. Then the other thing is we talked about colors. I didn't even know which one came first. Is it color? Well, okay, if colors is what I talked about first before going to advanced selectors. Then we have colors. Colors are just 3 places you use color in the entire web page. Color in fonts, color in background, and then color in border. Those are the places that you add colors. And in summary, I mentioned that you can name color by name, as in tell the browser that you should define a color by name. And how many names can you remember of a color? So there needs to be a kind of code in which you can detect or say the kind of color that you want. And then I told you guys about all this theory, RGB and whatnot. So, and you don't need to cram all these things. And this is a good example of what not to cram. This is a good example of what not to cram, because from the browser or from the editor, you can easily pick any color you want. Just use the wheel to choose color. But of course, sometimes it's not bad for you to know, the history of how things are being formed. Okay, so that's just the summary about color. We're not going to be talking about color or anything. So what I now did in this video was to show you how to use advanced selector, how to select some crazy things that looks impossible in your HTML page. I'm going to be using advanced selector, just a few of them. I'm not going to cover too much in details because we already have them in detail. What is the purpose of advanced selector? Advanced selector allows you to select things that looks practically impossible to select. In a array of information or code, when you have a lot of codes, in your web page, having the ability to pinpoint a particular element is very important. You being able to pinpoint a particular thing, is very important. And I will just pick 1 or 2 things from it. So let's look at this page that we have and see how we can pinpoint a particular thing. So I'm going to remove all this CSS that we have here so that we can have something to work with. So this is the CSS that is responsible for this particular one. I'm going to remove all the flag, guys, and remove all the flag so that it will just be normal. Then anything we've added to this, we'll remove it. Okay. Let me add something to this one. What I want to do is add a list here, or rather a link. Let's call this more. And then the other one, I will call it, well, we have an a link here. Then this other one, I will call it others. So we have these two links here, and of course you can easily target it using select by name, but you will see that they might exhibit different things in terms of how you want them to react or the kind of link that they exhibit. It's possible that one particular link is an internal link. An internal link is a link that links to the part of the website. Maybe if you say, like this one that say more, I say check out Google, for example. And Google is going to take it outside. When you say click to find, to search something on Google, it's going to take you outside the website. Why this first link is like specifying, on the same page you have. So even though you can easily say class and say normal link, you can do normal link and style normal link, and you can call this and style it other link. And the idea of doing it this way is so that any normal link will be having a specific pattern, then every other link will have, a specific pattern. This is pretty simple. We can do this already by just coming here. It's a class. Normal link is having color orange, right? And then you want to have this other link to have, let's say outside link, outside link to have color pink. So these are ways, but remember the reason why you're learning advanced stuffs, because if you have like a lot of links and you don't want to be manually specifying class for all of them, you just want it to naturally know what to do. Like it should naturally know based on some attributes that the element has. It should just naturally know. If you are going to be going to a new page from, the page that you're in, there's an attribute you need to specify. And that attribute is called target. So target is a way to allow the click event to take you to the next page without right clicking. Normally if you want to open a page in a new tab, you right click and then you open a new tab. But when you do blank automatically open in a new tab. So now that you implement that feature here, because this is an attribute of an anchor, I don't know if I mentioned this, but target allows you to open the link in a new frame or a new page. So there are other attributes, but blank is what I'm using. So how do you style this code in a way that it will know what you are about to do? We're talking about how do you style this one this way. So first of all, let's style our normal fonts, our normal anchor. So you know that you want to style. I'm going to remove all this. So, or let's comment it out. We don't want to use this approach. And there's no like a right way or a wrong way or something. You can use one knowledge that you have and do whatever you want to do. As you improve in all this knowledge, you then, use a better solution. So there's no really right way or wrong way. It's just that as you improve in your skill, you use optimized version of your code. Now I'm gonna say my anchor, all my anchor color should be orange, as we said before. Which kind of orange be this one? So now you can see everything happen anchor. But now we've said that we want to make sure that we want to target this kind of element that have this attribute. So how do we go about doing that? And that's why it's called advanced. So to be able to target that, we need to say anchor, we'll do something new entirely. But of course, we're going to be using the same anchor feature. So you want to be able to specify that this target is a blank. So the CSS can actually go through your attributes or go through your parameter to check all these things, to look all these things up. So in fact, the way it is here, you can just copy it. This is the thing you are targeting. You are targeting anchor that has target property and then has blank value. This whole thing, I just copy it like this and come here and put it inside a bracket, square brackets. You can see the square bracket and put it inside. This is it, guys. This is it. So let me do it again. I just copied everything here, this whole thing. I copied it and then I paste it here. I think this is already in the video, so it's something you can look. So that's why I'm just highlighting things I believe that I want to call your attention to that you will need. So if you look at the review, look at what it says. Do you see what it did? It says that it's going to look for everything that matches this thing here, right? And that's what that one does. So you can then style to see if our result is going to give us what it is that we want. We can then do pink and you can see your results. So this way, this one is more easier, than saying you want to go and be styling everything and give all your anchor normal, then give all your ones that have target, give it another name and call it other link. So even though they will both give it the same result, but this makes it more simpler to implement. And if something new comes up, it will just work naturally. Then another part again is anchor. So I'm looking at things that is not in that video so that you benefit from both of these classes. Another thing I want to mention is how to treat hover effects on a link, the effects, and that is hover effects, and that will end the class that I want to do. So the hover effect is handled by specifying this here. So there's a lot of things that comes with when you specify column. There's a lot of things that come, and some of them are advanced for your level. So we'll just pick the one that you can do with your level. So there's the one I want to mention now is hover, and what that does is that it implements the hover effect of your link. So once you take it over, you can see that it has default to what it is before. So but what that one is that we can first leave this one because this is a definition for anchor. We can now say we want to define specific one for hover alone. That hover means when your mouse moves over the elements. That is this A. And this over is applicable to all elements. So what that means is that you can actually hover on a span. So if you say, hey, all my span hover should have color red. So this technically should work. So if you hover on your span, where's my span? So do you see the span there? It doesn't have to be an anchor. It doesn't have to. So anything can actually have this hover effect as well. So these are, special stuffs that you will need for, I don't think I mentioned it in the video. So this is for A alone, and you can see that the A does not really affect this other guy. It does not affect this guy. So you can style the over effect of this whole story. And guess how do you do that? Well, I will write a couple of code. I will let you choose which one do you think is the answer. So I have two style I want to write here. Which one do you think is the answer? I have one that looks like this, and then I have one that looks like this. So which one do you think is the answer? So let me put this one to be, which color will I pick again? Lemon. Then it's called lemon. Lime. Let me say lime. So which one do you think is the answer, guys? Of course, both of them will work, but one of them is wrong. Which one do you think is the answer? The second one is the answer. So if you take your mouse over here, you can see you can see what this one translates to, because it will try to translate what it is. So you say, and there's nothing like this. There's nothing like this kind of target. So you can't target something like this. So if you take it to the second one, so this is more like it. So if we delete this one, if you delete the first one and you check it out, it will still work. So you guys are correct. Second one is the answer. So that's the summary of class 103. Our next class is going to be a review actually, but we might skip the review. Now the review is to put everything we've learned into perspective. So what I can do is I will give you guys an assignment actually, so that review will be for us to understand where we are, from where we are, CSS 101 to 103. So I will give you guys a project to manage that review. I think that's what I did on that review. That's CSS 104. So I'm going to also send you guys that video, CSS 104. Let me even bring it up so that you guys will see it. Yeah, CSS 104. So it's a review of everything we've done so far. And the idea is so that we understand what we are doing from the beginning, to do a refresher. So you can see I was talking about anchor and whatnot. So I will give you guys an assignment on it. Hopefully I don't forget before the next class, so that you guys can also do something towards it.